Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. Get everything you need into the cloud. Kind of like BYU sent ECU into the cloud. Off you go, ECU. Dirty soda all over you.
What a lost weekend for our football teams. Lost.
Not for Duke.
Not for Duke. State, Carolina, ECU.
Lost money opportunity for you.
Shoosh.
You come in here saying, you know what? I missed an opportunity for Saturday. We could have had a t-shirt that said,
yeah, Pushers versus Pirates. There were so many BYU fans there.
Yeah.
Mad respect to BYU. Mad respect.
Did you see any?
That's not an easy trip.
Did you see any Mormon influencers while you were there?
Greenville.
Well, I mean, it's like based on what I know of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, like they clearly have money for all the influencing that's taking place. Were there any influencers there?
I don't know. I would not recognize a BYU influencer if I fell over one.
There wasn't like one big sex scandal that just broke out of the tailgate?
No. There was someone who had their own cornhole boards, though. I stopped them and I said, props to you.
Respect.
I don't know how you got those through carry-on, but
respect.
That is respectful. Yeah.
All right. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the NC State Duke game?
Yeah.
Big thanks to Dimitri for hanging out with us on Saturday. My brother called in from Central Florida. He was bored on a Saturday, so he decided to
Did he go?
Oh, yeah. He hate watched. He said, he's like, I don't care what happened with the NC State Duke game. I enjoyed watching Bill Belichick in North Carolina get embarrassed at Central Florida. He showed up in a Triangle Good t-shirt and an NC State hat. He said he wasn't the only NC State fan who was there, by the way. So if you want to know Triangle dynamics, there you go. Orlando area State fans went to that game just to watch UNC get embarrassed. But yeah, let's start with NC State and Duke, where Duke went, I understand now. Maybe if we don't make a bunch of mistakes, we can find ourselves on the winning end of this football game. And I'll just reiterate what I said on Saturday in a much more condensed fashion. And I hope people understand what I'm getting at with this. This is not about CJ Bailey. It's simply illustrating what NC State has to do to be in a ball game. And it's unfortunate, but the offense essentially has to be flawless for that defense to be in a position to win games. And you noticed in dramatic wins over Virginia and Wake Forest, they were error-free. There were no turnovers. In the second half of their win against ECU, there were no turnovers. So you notice the difference here. 4 turnovers. 4. CJ Bailey with those 3 picks and a fumble, and that just gave Duke life. Also some special teams miscues as well, giving Duke life, much like Duke had given life to Illinois and Tulane the previous weeks. And not that Duke was perfect. They had their own special teams blunders as well. But it was just too much for NC State to overcome, and Duke took advantage of it. And that's how they won a bunch of games last year, the whole in the sewer thing. And that looked more like the Duke of what we saw last year than we had up until this point.
And in those ECU wins, the Virginia wins, the Wake Forest wins, NC State's defense made a play when they had to. So you can get away with some mistakes when you can make a play.
Yeah.
When you have to. It's 38-33. State gets down by 5. Duke has the ball. It's closing time. And Anderson Castle pops a 66-yard touchdown run on a play that Dave Doeren, talked about after the game, where he was like, that's the 3rd time that's happened to us this year. Obviously, we got to make a play on the guys who are not blocked on that play. You got to make a play, but unfortunately, it's happened to us. So they got popped. I think NC State takes a 20-7 lead. They miss a PAT, and I think that's where the wheels started falling off.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, the next possession, you go down and you have the offside, not offside. Very similar play to what we saw at Notre Dame in 2017 in a game where I thought turned similarly, that NC State was in and kind of in control of. And then Ryan Finley throws a pick 6 in that example. This interception, to your point, the mistake, to your point, it's 4th and short. Dave talked about it after the game about how it's not even really a play and how there was a mistake made there. And he thought the guy was offsides, but there was no flag.
Yeah.
So the quarterback has to adjust once he doesn't see the flag. Obviously, it turns into a calamitous kind of sequence because, of course, Duke scores there, then Duke scores to start the second half, and all of a sudden you got that middle eight just eating you alive. So
here's JC Zembel, rivals. Here's Dave Doeren after the game explaining what happened on that offsides that wasn't offsides, which it goes beyond CJ Bailey. I mean, if it's a free play, like Dimitri and I talked about on Saturday night, well, it's a free play. Just chuck it. It's a free play if in your mind.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird jump ball that I was confused by, but also there was a center making the mistake because as the Duke defender was in the neutral zone, that's when the ball got snapped. And that bang, bang instance, they're not going to call offsides. But here's Dave after the game explaining what happened.
As far as offsides, not offsides, and then what did you see? It looked like maybe the rest of the offense wasn't ready for that ball to snap.
Well, it's a hard count play. We don't even have a play called unless they jump offsides. If they jump offside, we snap the ball and take a free shot knowing that we got 5. Center's not supposed to snap it unless he knows somebody's in the neutral zone. Jalen thought that their DN was in the neutral zone when he snapped the football. The refs didn't think that. It's a play where CJ in that situation has to see there's not a flag and throw it away. And he was trying to make a play right there. It's unfortunate. I mean, from our sideline, I thought he was offsides. From the ref standpoint, he wasn't. It's not reviewable. So it's a tough play in the game. It's 4th and 3. We're trying to get them to jump, and if they don't, I was going to bang a timeout and kick a field goal. We weren't even going to run a play right there.
So overall, just breakdown that winds up in that.
And all the special teams mistakes that they made in this game, you're simply not going to win that way. And it was almost like it got to 20-7, and Duke was probably thinking, well, it's not our year, right? Because look what happened earlier in the day. Well, going back, now they can't do this in real time at 4:00. Obviously, I get that. Mm-hmm. But Tulane, who I was very excited about, got their shit packed by Ole Miss.
Dude, did you see what Indiana did?
Packed. Illinois, who I was also very high on,
dude,
got murderballed by Kurt Cignetti in Indiana.
Yes.
Murderballed. So if you're a Duke, you got to be thinking, well, oh man, going into the game, I would have said, hey man, they lost to 2 good teams.
What did I tell you?
They apparently did not lose to 2 good teams.
I feel like Saturday.
Yikes!
I feel like Saturday crystallized my points over the previous couple of weeks when talking about Duke. I'm not here for we were the better team. Because by the way, if you looked at NC State's box score, State was the better team. Okay, but we don't play that shit because the better teams don't make the series of mistakes that they ended up doing. You can run it up on the box score all you want.
Yeah.
But there's going to be critical errors that give the ball back and give that other team life. And that's what Duke had done the previous 2 weeks against Tulane and Illinois.
Mostly on special teams too.
Special teams miscues.
So though, you missed that extra
5
point.
Turnovers against Illinois, right? In Tulane, it was the miscues on special teams. So it was NC State being the one that was doing to Duke what Duke had done to the other teams, and you saw the result.
And they found religion quickly. Duke. Because they had to make the plays too. This wasn't like, oh, State made a bunch of mistakes. Duke's got to make the plays in turn, which Duke did.
Which is what State had done.
Right.
So it's funny. And when we're talking about teams, I think that's the other thing too. This is a reminder of triangle good and the entire point of triangle good. Okay. It's kind of like on any given Saturday. None of these teams are so good that you can go in, guarantee, and
just roll the ball out.
Hey man, roll the ball out where it's going to happen. Even in these NC State, North Carolina games over the previous couple of years, some have been a little closer than anticipated. Mm-hmm. And some games are thinking, well, look at the talent on the North Carolina side. Doesn't matter. You're still not that good that you can just go out there and think you're going to win this game. But I think Saturday was just another example of that. Of course, these are things that Dave Doeren understands. Now, the one thing that was curious when I was looking at JC's Instagram and we played that clip from Dave, what do you think the comments look like, Joe?
Not great. Now, one thing I will say about NC State's defense, they're missing some guys now, not like injuries, not suspensions. And I know there were some of that in here.
I get that.
Their roster construction, which I had concerns about going into the season.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure who the difference makers are on defense for NC State. Yes. And the comments, and that's where I think the real takeaway from this game is I hope it does not get as toxic for Dave as I think it is going to get over the next 2 months.
I think there's two things going on here. Because as one, we had a sports phone call that made a really good point. It's like, if it's not Wake Forest, now it's Duke. Like, what is it with these private institutions?
Yes,
you're supposed to be better than the private institutions.
Or at least 50-50.
And no, they're not. So I get that's a valid criticism of NC State in general with Dave Doeren. Yeah. Hold up. You have more advantages than they do. And yet And it doesn't matter. It's like he's been here long enough that you can actually discuss eras of Wake Forest and Duke. Okay. So it's like, wait a minute, what in the world is going on? But you know what? We'll see what happens against Virginia Tech. They'll be fine. They had a dead cat bounce against.
Now, there's a possibility that Virginia
Wofford.
Tech's entire roster goes into the portal. There is.
Yeah.
Because they've played 4 games.
Yeah.
They can preserve their eligibility. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
Joe, you're being very dismissive right now of what you already know.
Oh, come
This
on.
is Joe. Saturday is going to be like the old RBC Center for a Carolina basketball game.
Oh, like the
Tight,
giant
angry
sucking sound you hear.
Default angry. The first time an official doesn't throw an offsides penalty. The first time a kicker misses something anywhere near. Like it's going to be toxic early. The default mode is going to be angry and toxic early.
No, you're right.
If they come out and blow them out, bully, great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like fans were mad at the ECU win. Fans were mad at the way the game started against Virginia. Fans were mad at the way the game started against Wake Forest. Now they've actually lost a game. What makes you think they're going to be more rational? What I'm saying is I don't like where this is headed for State. For Dave specifically.
For Dave.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Because at some point, like it's not what you've earned. It's not what you deserve. At some point, there has to be some sort of like NC State fans, after the way they treated Kevin Keats last year, feel like they feel like they have now
and what they got
out of it.
That's the key part. It's what they got.
Feel now there's an entitlement there.
Yes.
There's also a sense of accomplishment there.
Yes.
So I don't want Dave to get the Kevin treatment, but I suspect that's based on what we've already seen. I don't like the way that the next 2 months are shaping up for Dave Doeren and NC State football.
All right, let's go to the sports phone. I'm going to allow some Duke fans to talk their shit.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
Of course, the OG Sports Phone, which has been working overtime since the weekend, is brought to you by Nature's Relief. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. That's RELEAF hempstore.com. This is from a 910.
Hey, guys. So I work at Duke. I'm a State fan, State grad. I'm only a Duke fan once a month whenever the paycheck clears. Anyway, so Saturday, it's like 3 o'clock. I get a text from a coworker who's got free tickets, of course. And had to make a call. Finally convinced my toddler, almost 4-year-old, let's go to the football game. He's never been. I've never wanted to spend $120 a ticket to go to Carter Finley for a game and potentially have to leave at halftime. Foreshadowing. So use a parking pass from work, park close to the stadium, get in there. We get there, I think, right when State scored the second touchdown. So, vibes were immaculate, which didn't last long. But saltiness aside from the result, we get there, we go to the section, which is a general admission section. If Duke is going to actually take football serious, which they obviously are, based on the money they're spending and the renovations they're trying to do at Old Raleigh, assign some seats. You can't have a general admission section that can hold thousands of people when you actually have thousands of people show up. It was kind of funny, though. We got to the section. I mean, there's just nowhere to sit. I asked a couple people, is that seat taken? Is that seat taken? Yes, sorry, yes. So I asked a guy, Duke fan. Everyone was super nice, by the way. I asked this guy, like, what do you do? I'm with my kid. Like, how do you get a seat? And he just looks at me and smiles and goes, this is Duke football, baby. Which I got a kick out of. The self-awareness was great. Finally, we got a seat with some good old red and white stripe overall wearing State guys, and stayed until, the abysmal end of the first half, at which point my toddler had enough and had to poop, which was good enough for me. I'm so glad we didn't stay. But anyway, assign seats, Duke. Come on, get it together. Thanks, guys.
That sounds like people want the should be happy onesie. That's what I'm hearing out of that.
Hey, text us and you'll get the Ship Be Happy onesie. I don't know. We'll design it. Maybe we'll throw 2 roosters in there as well. From a 336, Duke has beat State by double digits 3 straight years. They are a better program right now.
Sure, dude.
Sure. Scoreboard, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be dismissive,
Mm-hmm.
but scoreboard 704.
Duke football owns the Wolfpack. Every investment Duke football has made has been more than what State has been willing to make in the modern era. Dave Doeren sucks. CJ Bailey sucks, not a Heisman. Hollywood Smothers is going to the SEC. You guys just can't compete with Duke. Maybe you guys should start covering Duke more since you're the Triangle sports media instead of shitty old State and shitty old Bill in UNC. Roll Devils, DDMF, let's go.
Talk your shit. From a 336.
Hey, Joes. What's going on? It's Jack from Wilmington. Just got back into town from Durham from the game last night. Congrats to the Pack for turning it red and winning the attendance bowl. At least you got some sort of win last night. I know there's a lot of talk from State fans about can't believe we lost to Duke. I saw lots of tweets and actually heard a lot of people in the stands talking about how coming to Duke to watch a game is like going to the ghetto and how we have no culture. But let's face it, at pretty much every skill position except for running back, and I don't know if you call tight end skill position, Duke is just better. We were bigger, stronger, faster. The culture looked a lot better based on team around the sidelines, even when Duke was down in the beginning of the game. And culture-wise, the Duke seniors have known nothing but winning pretty much for 4 years. And I don't know. I know there was a lot of talk about this game being close and it being a toss-up. Knew it was going to be a high-scoring game. Everybody's surprised about Duke putting up this many points. It doesn't surprise me that much how many points we put up. And at the end of the game, State was just gassed. So I think there's a lot of shock and a lot of takes from the State fans. But at the end of the day, I think Duke is just better. Going through the rest of the season, Clemson's not looking as good. If Duke can get by Georgia Tech, we might have a little move for something. The trip to Charlotte for hopefully Duke and Miami and the Manny Diaz Bowl is still alive. And yeah, like what I saw from the Blue Devils, way to bounce back. Yeah, that's all I got. Go Blue Devils.
I mean, I need you to sound a little bit more excited about the fact that the Blue Devils pulled that thing out, man. One more from a 919. At Wallace Wade, 50-50 State and Duke fans, and the whole stadium erupted when they showed the UNC score on the Jumbotron. Don't forget your ABCs. It's the only thing that unites us. Well, it's not the only thing. I think the Carolina Hurricanes unite people. But yes, Bill Belichick, Schadenfreude does unite a good chunk of this fan base. And I think even some UNC fans are getting in on the Schadenfreude of watching Bill Belichick embarrass himself, which gets us to one more sports phone call, which will set up this next topic.
Hey guys, who do we think is feeling the most validated by the way the Belichick experiment is going? Tom Brady, Mac Brown, or Lawrence Bubba Cunningham? The last one, he may not like it, but I'm certain there's an element of, I told you so. And man, I did not think this season would go well for them, but I also did not think it would go so poorly as to ruin a man's legacy. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I would say Bill Belichick's legacy, in terms of what he was able to accomplish in the NFL is fine. I'm not. We'll see how this thing gets debated and written in due time. But I can say definitively that 4 weeks into the season, Bill Belichick has absolutely nuked any possibility he's going back to the NFL. There's not a single team in the NFL that's looking at what's happening right now and goes, you know what? We want to bring that into our franchise. That's going to be the thing that turns us around. I don't care how bad the Giants looked last night with Russell Wilson. They ain't hiring Bill Belichick. I don't care how bad down Mike McDaniel looks with the Dolphins, okay? The Dolphins are not going to be bringing him in to allow that man to win X amount of games to surpass Don Shula. So that's kind of where we're at right now with Bill Belichick. He has nuked his NFL future if it hadn't already been nuked before.
I was going to say, I'm not sure one has anything to do with the other. I know what their plan was, but
well, best laid plans, man.
Yeah.
What do they always say? Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Well, everybody's got a plan until you completely fall on your face at the college level and you get smoked by TCU to start the season, and then you get embarrassed by UCF down in Orlando.
Yeah, I think one thing that people need to understand about UCF, and Bill was very complimentary of the Knights.
Yeah, and Scott Frost.
And
right?
Scott Frost.
Yeah.
And, Gus Malzahn was their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get fired. He willingly left. Like, he left to be Florida State's offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And he was their head coach. Then he took the offensive coordinator job of a 2-10 team.
Well, threw some money at him.
Right. Right. As if Auburn still isn't paying him or he hasn't made enough money. Okay, understand. If you have a monster, you don't leave the monster and be like, I got a really good team in Orlando. I'm going to go be the OC at a fire disaster in Tallahassee.
What you're saying is that UCF was an empty cupboard.
What I'm saying is they were in the same starting spot as Carolina.
Yeah.
And somehow, in the same amount of time, we're able to come out and look competent.
Yeah.
North Carolina is not even competent.
Bad, dude.
Like, that's the part that I got wrong. Maybe if he had just coached the players that Mac Brown left behind, maybe he would have had a chance. Their roster, and they have only themselves to blame.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Duke and their investment. They have spent wisely. Duke has spent wisely. You talk about North Carolina. You talk about NC State not having money to buy a defense, which, hey, maybe you don't need an extra receiver. Maybe you don't need, some of the things that you ended up spending some money on. Maybe you did need to spend some more money on defense.
Sure.
Different situation. North Carolina had all the money in the world. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just decided, these are the players that I want.
Well, it gets back to the word we've used this entire time. There is this ego and hubris that, no. We know what football players look like. We are going to be able to coach them up. We are going to be able to have this very famous word from Charlie Weiss, one of his coaching trees guys that bared no fruit, a schematic advantage.
The decided schematic advantage is not there.
I think what we're finding out is two things. I don't even, to your point, to your hypothetical, let's say you have the same roster that Mac Brown was going to bring this season had Mac Brown stayed.
At least I would know you had an ACC roster. At least I would know that.
I am convinced that Bill Belichick is not equipped as a head coach to coach at this level.
There is no evidence to dispute what you're saying.
Understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying Bill Belichick is not a good coach. What I'm getting at is he is not equipped to coach at this level because there's a different kind of mindset you have to have. And here's Bill Belichick. This is from our guy, Andrew Jones at Tar Heel 24/7. This is a prime opportunity in all of college to pump your guys up. You're 2-2. Yes, you've been embarrassed twice by actual group of 5 teams. Okay. I get that. Well, only one Big 12 team, obviously. Wait, they're both Big 12. I can't even keep track of where UCF is anymore. Okay.
He's 0-2 against the Big 12.
0-2 against the Big 12. And I believe, how many points have Big 12 teams put up on them at this point?
Too many
points. So apologies. I've completely lost track of where UCF is. Point being,
82 points.
The point is, you have to find a way to connect with the players and make sure they don't give up. And based on Shelby Swanson's NNO piece, where she had talked to some UNC players, they sound like they're the ones that are going to have to pick themselves up, because I want you to watch this from Andrew Jones and tell me where this team is going to get the confidence and the pick-me-up to turn their season around after an open date before they take on a very beatable Clemson team.
Bill, just off the top of your head, you're coming out of this one. What would you maybe underline as the most important things you want to try to address during the bye? Like, what are sort of the top line items?
Fundamentals and, basic execution certainly be near the top of this. Situational footballs, that'd be up there too.
On the left, Coach front row.
Does the bye week come at a good time for you guys? Get healthy, and maybe if Gio can't go, you can maybe add some things for Max that maybe suit his skill set a little bit differently.
Whenever it comes, it comes. Schedule is a schedule. So.
Do you think your team,
when we're kind of assigned to play, we'll play, and we have extra time, then we'll use the extra time to benefit the team the best way we can.
do you think your team can use maybe a little bit of a pullback to
5 weeks always
reset?
It's always a good opportunity to get some things done, and take care of some bumps and bruises, and work on some things we need to work on. Sure, it's always a good time to do that.
Smacking the gum, talking about situational football as though that's not on him to have his team prepared. Now, he's right about situational football. Central Florida gets the ball back with 1:22 left in the half. This was after some situational football where Gio Lopez gets it to June. They bring it to the Central Florida 22, but out of bounds, stops the clock. They kick a field goal, right? So you got plenty of time for Central Florida to make something happen before they go to the half. UNC gets the ball back, obviously, to start the half, but hey, man, UCF's trying to do something before things go to halftime. Jackson, the quarterback, somehow evades what should have been a sack. I mean, that should have been a sack. I don't know how so Mac Brown, poor tackling, rears its head. Again, 33rd NFL team development. Those are things that are not supposed to happen. That's a Mac Brown trait, last time I checked. Thad Dixon gets a defensive holding call. 2 plays later, an incomplete pass is negated thanks to 2 penalties. They take the roughing the passer in that situation. 10-yard pass to the UNC 32, 15-yard pass to the UNC 17, and then a 17-yard touchdown thanks to UNC's defense biting very, very hard on the pump fake. So that is penalties and situational football. Start the second half. UNC goes 4 and out to open things up. UCF gets the ball back at their 36. Cuts through the defense like warm butter. 2 completions for 15 yards before Jackson runs free for a 25-yard run. It's just broken play. Bada bing, bada boom. 3 plays later, end zone for a 27-3 lead. The game's over at that point. The game's over. Even before the Gio Lopez injury, all that kind of game is over.
The game was over at halftime, but
yes,
he looks miserable in the post game. Why are you chewing gum in the post game? That doesn't make any sense. That's dumb. Here, though, he has to be questioning his entire life. He's already been in questioning his entire life.
Oh, yeah.
This whole thing is an existential crisis for Bill Belichick. This entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, he's 73 years old. Okay, I'm 50, and I could tell you right now, my chances of adjusting and learning new tricks at 50 are 0.0.
Yeah, give yourself some credit.
Okay.
Look at us today.
Okay. But
I'm just saying, look at us today. Give yourself some credit.
That's you and I. Okay, we're doing something we've already done. We're not really we're not reinventing anything here.
Okay.
We don't have to deal with a different set. There's no outside elements. Okay.
Okay.
But selling ads is different, but it's dealing with people.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
I'm dealing with people that we know.
You are. I know. I stay in my little. I stay in my little hermit cave.
When you've done something and you're ultra successful for a very long time, not only do you think, man, I can do this forever.
Yeah.
But you think my way is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden it's the element that it's this part of the equation that you identified last year and you were right about. This generation of players is not Mike Vrabel. It's not Lawrence Taylor. It's not Harry Carson's or Jim Brown in his brain. It's a completely different thing. And all of your parlor tricks that you thought worked do not work with them.
No.
And not only do they not work with them, you have to have an enthusiasm to work with them.
My brother.
You have shown zero interest in working with them.
So it's funny. I know you pointed this out at the TCU game, and my brother texted me. He says, it's wild to not see him with the team going over stuff. Like you pointed this out over TCU. He was like, where the hell are you? Like, why are you over here? What are you doing?
Existential crisis. 73 years old. It's hard to learn new tricks. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not bemoaning this for him, but I will say he is in a prison of his own making right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is where he is because Joe, he's 15 wins from immortality. And what is he doing? What now? Where does he find himself?
Getting made fun of.
15 wins from immortality, and Gus Malzahn's leftovers are over here trolling the absolute fuck out of you. For what? For what? That is entirely my question about all of this.
Yeah.
What is any of this for? And it can't be money, Joe. He's got plenty of it. Go retire. If you want to get your girlfriend her own reality show, it's 2025.
Dude.
Hire a production crew.
They have one.
Get yourself a Blair Witch Project, man. You don't have to do this to yourself. You don't have to do this to yourself.
What do you think
what does Robin Williams say? It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Oh, you go Goodwill Hunting?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
When does the Hulu show drop?
I don't.
I have not heard
who's
about.
Gonna watch it.
Oh, I'll watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
I will absolutely watch it.
I mean, we're talking basic
Because I wanna
broadcasting
watch it.
101.
I wanna
You're gonna
watch
put
it.
gum in before you go sit down and talk to the media. You're going to be completely and totally disinterested in any of this.
Yeah. So I'm
By-
going to
by
watch
the-
because
by the way-
I want to see how they massage these 4 weeks.
By the way, how about you have your team prepared to play football? What about this football game?
That's
You
the
say
thing.
the end of the first half, start of the second half. Cool.
No, I know.
At some point, you have to have your team motivated and interested in playing football. Say what you want about NC State over at Duke. Start of that football game, both of those teams, hey man, they're ready to play football.
Yep.
You know,
They look
wild concept.
They look like functional college football
And they
programs.
looked interested.
Yeah.
Scott Frost, guess what? He had his team ready to play football for you.
College football's not that complicated.
Charlotte, who
Yes.
can't get out of their own shadow,
Motivated to play.
they were ready to play you.
They're not motivated to play.
What about this? Is basic elemental forces of competition that he has somehow gotten lost in, that he can't even have his team prepared to play football.
All of our ACC conversations brought to you by Bloomin' Blinds. I also bring you the After Dark. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. That's bloomin, I-N, blinds.com. Chris and the crew, they're going to take care of you. You get 10 or more window treatments, you're going to get 10% off. My guess is they probably need some dark blackout shades at the Keenan Football Center for all the tape they're going to be grinding over the open week.
Chris is fired up. We have the Roback OG Golf Classic on Friday. They are your official hole sponsor for Closest to the Pin on number 2. Sorry, Jared, can't have number 2. And the long drive on 17. So big shouts to Bloomin' Blinds and for their support of the Roback OG Golf Classic.
Now, we mentioned the open date, and they'll see Clemson. Ludacris is going to be in Chapel Hill. I'm going to go just to watch Ludacris. I don't really care about the Clemson Carolina game, to go to it, because as many have joked that
He's going to be on the field?
No, he's the Chapel Thrill concert series.
Yeah.
Ludacris will be in the quad.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to
Roll out. You want to roll out?
shake your moneymaker. I don't know. Get out my business.
Get your hot 16.
Right. Throw some bows. I don't know, man.
I would go see Ludacris. Of course.
I'm going. I want to go see Ludacris.
Fucking Gen X. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Guy has banger after banger. I'm absolutely there for it. Okay. But as many have joked online, I don't know what I think the game is sometime in the evening. But as many people have joked online, is it not at 10 a.m. on the Cartoon Network at this point? Because that's where this is headed. Which gets us to Dabo. Let's go back to the OG Sports Phone and what we saw over the weekend.
Could I talk you into Syracuse beating them this weekend? No. You know why? I was a week early, and no one wants to hear it. Oh, okay. They are going to hype Syracuse on Saturday. I don't hype.
Well, Joe, somebody got piped, but I believe it was old Dabo. Let's get our thoughts and prayers together for that crybaby prick fucker. Anyways, love the show and let's grow. Oh shit, wrong show. Bye guys.
Shout out to Hand in the Dirt. Let's grow. Yeah, man. That was not a fuck you, we're still Clemson game. It said it was a fuck you, Dabo's down bad right now.
Georgia Tech, the superpower that we did not know existed. They were the team that beat Florida State last year in the opener. Florida State never recovered. Georgia Tech beat Clemson last week, and clearly they not only are they did not recover, they're not going to recover.
Dabo said last week in his weird 13-minute monologue that started off a question based on, is there an offensive play you'd like to have back? That he's like, hey, man, we might lay an egg and we might go 6-6. I don't know if he knew that was a real possibility or if he was just throwing that out there for dramatic effect. But he did say, hey, man, we could go 6-6 this year. And then he went off to go reel off his resume and saying, regardless of what happens this year, understand that you will take what we've built here over anything else, right? But we're at the point now at Clemson and Dabo where going to your resume no longer works because Dabo is a victim of his own standard and what he has raised Clemson to do. And they look so ordinary, man. And I'm watching them against Syracuse, who just took it to them. And you talk about interest in a football game. Clemson did not look interested in competing and getting back in this game, man. They looked broken based on how this year has gone. And I don't think it's a talent issue. Based to the rest of the ACC, I don't think it's a talent issue. I don't.
I mean, in what sense?
At least on the defensive side, they shouldn't be this bad.
Right.
Cade Klubnik, I mean, let me put it this way. This point's been made before, but it's one that I think I agree with. A lot of NFL evaluators can't be this wrong about a roster. You see what I'm getting at? So there's something else that's fundamentally wrong about this team. There's fundamentally wrong about this team. And I do think it's related to Dabo and the shtick. And I do think this have flashbacks to, and once that air of like the invincibility goes away, we've seen this before in the ACC with Florida State and Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Because we're old, and for the younger audience out there, I don't think I can properly articulate what it was when Florida State came to your place. They were, Joe, you talk about war machines all the time. In the ACC, they were the war machine. They did not lose. And if you kept it close,
I was saying, not only did they not lose,
they whooped your ass. They lost, 2 conference games, like in a 10-year span or something like that? Something ridiculous. There was a reason why when Florida State came to your place, to your city, you wanted one of 2 things. Keep it close. See if you can keep it close. Don't get embarrassed. And if you won, it was a national holiday. The urban legend of 1998, when NC State beat Florida State, and how far that goalpost got to, lives on. Okay? It lives on. People still remember that day. When North Carolina.
And they took it to the Waffle House.
We took it to the Waffle House.
And it went to the fountain at RAO.
It was at the Brickyard, Joe. Right? When I think it was after they won the national championship, or and they went to Chapel Hill and they lost. Okay. In the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That was a big deal, man. That was a huge event. But then you started to see Bobby Bowden kind of become a caricature of himself, started to believe his own bullshit, started making hires that didn't make a lot of sense for a program as to where they should be.
A lot of nepotism.
Where'd they end up? An ugly exit. That's where Dabo is right now. Now, Dabo can change this. I'm not saying his fate is sealed based on what we're seeing.
How does he change it? I just said the 74-year-old can't. The 73-year-old can't change. Dabo's my age or my age.
Dabo's
a couple
55.
years older than me.
He's 55.
He's already told you he's not changing. That's what he's already told you.
Okay.
So he's not going to change it. It's not going to end the way you want it to end.
If he's not going to change.
You don't get to write your own endings.
If it's not going to change, then it's time for him to go. I mean, it's that simple. It's that if he's not going to change, if he's not going to get with the program.
Tell me how it changes.
I mean, I think it
tell me how it changes.
Dabo. So I think there's an issue with Dabo in that Dabo likes to give the air of I'm an idiot. You know, the old Dabo thing, the old bus, you know, all this other kind of stuff, right? I think he enjoys the caricature that people like to make fun of him for, but behind all that stuff is a really smart, calculated guy.
Yeah.
Smart enough to know I got to change things up and I got to hire somebody outside to change up this offense. He went in a different direction. Now the question is,
but he did that with Riley's brother.
Now the question is, now that you know where college football is, do you get with the times? Do you make that change? I think he, behind the scenes, once you get past the character, he's too smart to keep this going.
I think only one person truly in coaching circles ever changed what they did after they were successful. I'm being very serious.
Mike Krzyzewski.
He's the only one.
Because Roy didn't.
Oh,
Roy was Roy, and he got to a point where he's like, I can't do it anymore. Peace out. I'm out.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see
Bob
what happens.
Knight, super successful. Hey, Dean Smith is the one who shut it down. Just said, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore.
Don't want to do it anymore."
Yeah.
I think it was, I want to say it was Chip Patterson. Maybe it was Chip Patterson who floated this, or maybe it was Stephen Gottfried on the Yahoo Sports podcast that we're going to get John Calipari vibes out of Dabo.
Yeah, we're already there.
Like, essentially, it's like, yeah, dude, come on. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing it this way, and that you're going to have these kinds of press conferences. You think we're already there?
Again, I'll go back to my questions this summer when I saw an ESPN projection of 5 or 6 of their players in the first round of the NFL draft and K Klubnik being number 1 overall. That's not what I saw in real life. And I did not understand any of the offseason hype for them because it's not like they added anyone new. They were a perfectly fine team last year, good enough to win the ACC, good enough to take a last stand and make the playoffs. Yes, they were a functional against Texas, but they were never really a threat to win that football game. So I never understood where all this false optimism came from. They didn't change. The words I said to Eric McLean, and people were like, "Oh, you were fighting." I was not fighting with him. I was pointing out to him.
It's a spirited conversation.
I was pointing out to him, like, just tell me why they're going to be this much better. Because what they were last year was not good enough to beat Georgia, not good enough to beat South Carolina, not good enough to beat Texas.
Well, I think
so. Why were they magically going to be better?
I think the difference is losing to LSU was typical of the normal conversation we had about Syracuse. To your point, were they good enough to beat these teams? Were they good enough to be college football playoff contenders?
Clemson.
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So losing to LSU to start the season, it did not raise any eyebrows. It's a close game. To me, it didn't raise any eyebrows.
I agree with you, but it was at home. It wasn't like this game in Atlanta. Like that. If you've never been there before at night, that's it's quite an advantage.
You're right about it. You're right about the Georgia Tech game. That's when it went.
Broke them.
Whoa, hold up.
Especially when you consider where the Troy game and the effort they had against Troy. There's a rhythm to football. You got to come out and play after that. They did not. And now, obviously, Syracuse, by the way, who Duke plays next. We'll see how great you are, Duke. Let's see what happens.
Quarterback is hurt. So let's go to a 919.
The wheels on the bus have fallen off, fallen off, fallen off. The wheels on the bus have fallen off. Time to fire Dabo. The only thing that might save Dabo's job at this point is beating Bill Belichick, which we all know is going to happen because now, more than ever, it is going to be a 63-3 blowout when Clemson comes to Chapel Hill.
Maybe that is the fuck you were still Clemson game. Dabo can. You're done with that one. I'm done. I think what it is. I think with the rest of the season, it's not about Dabo. It's a bunch of these college coaches being able to say, "I'm 1-0 against Bill Belichick." Scott Frost gets to say, "Hey man, I'm 1-0 against Bill Belichick."
These aren't the things that Clemson cares about. Now they'll play South Carolina at the end of the year. We'll see. They get Florida State, which is a game obviously that they care about, but it's a completely different. The college football carousel, the coaching carousel,
it's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be a nutty one.
And maybe Dabo, to your point about Calipari,
can you go somewhere else?
Maybe he sees it and says, "All right,
off to the SEC.
I'll take the Arkansas job. I'll take the Ole Miss job if Lane. I can't imagine Lane doesn't do something. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on
like
that.
I think those are all more likely things to happen than them. I wouldn't fire Dabo Swinney.
No, the question about Dabo though is, can he deal with the SEC? That's the one thing that I keep saying. We talked about.
He already told us last week that he's going to be doing this for a long time.
But sure, that doesn't mean he can handle the SEC though, because if he's this annoyed already at Clemson, where they actually do standing ovations for his press conferences,
right?
That shit don't fly in the SEC.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We've got a weird week coming up.
We do.
We're going to be at the North Carolina Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Correct.
You're going to be golfing on Wednesday, helping raise money for the North Carolina Baseball Hall of Fame.
Correct.
We're here Thursday for our OG Live, thanks to the Butcher's Market. And then Friday, we got the OG Golf Classic.
Correct.
Okay. So we're out of spaces, right?
Yeah, we are way out of spaces.
Jared got taken care of. People have emailed Jared?
I believe he did, yes.
Okay, good. Speaking of Jared and Two Roosters, we got this call to the sports phone.
Tell me something good. Two Roosters, Devil Tracks, pretty good. That's about the only good thing from today. Go Pack.
So check out tworoosters.com. Again, that's tworoosters.com. If you go to Duke games, they got the Devil's Tracks. Even a State fan eating his feelings with the Devil's Tracks. So check out tworoosters.com. Also, big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm. InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. While we were at the Rialto on Friday night, one of our listeners came up to us, was like, hey, really enjoy the show. And like, I am a corporate champion guy. I'm like, oh, really? It's like, hey, even Matt Davis got my insurance, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, awesome. I love to hear that. Love to hear that. And if you think you're saving money on home and auto right now, look, all we're asking is that you start a conversation with our guy, Matt Davis, over at State Farm. InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. Big thanks to Longleaf. Was at Longleaf last week for lunch. Always hits. I had not had the smash burger in a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Been, you know me. You made fun of me the other day. We met up with Ralston Turner the other day.
Yeah, you got salad.
And you're like, you predicted it because you got there before I did. And you apparently told Ralston before I sat down, he's going to get the salad. Sounds good. Put the smoked chicken on top of that. But I have not had the smash burger in a hot minute. And I'm like, why have I been denying myself?
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying other menu items, man. I have. But that smash burger is delicious. And they got OG Light there. So the smash burger and an OG Light, chase that with a little buffalo trace, you're going to be good to go. So check them out, longleafswine.com. And of course, our friends at Rowback, they are bringing you the Golf Classic. We appreciate that. I'll wear my Rowback on Friday. I'm excited about this. So let's go. Go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Look at the Panthers, much like NC State and Duke, right? Like, hey, how about we let the other team make the mistakes and see what happens?
What an idea.
I can coach. No, I'm kidding. The Panthers, they decided to go like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to let the Falcons go full Falcons and we'll see what happens.
I'm still surprised at the way that this game played out.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Bryce was great. He didn't have to be.
He didn't have. Well, you're right about that. The Falcons, the Falcons made so many mistakes. They never got into the red zone, right? I felt like Michael Penix completely short-circuited after the pick six, just completely short-circuited after the pick six, to the point where Kirk Cousins had to come in, right? Because they weren't getting anything out of him. But to the Panthers' credit, I don't want to completely dismiss what they did. It's a matter of taking advantage of the other team's mistakes in the way that other teams have taken advantage of your mistakes. And a key part of that is for the Panthers to finally get with the program and execute on their first drive.
I was going to say, wait a second.
Whoa!
We have to update the chart.
Whoa, it's time to update the yellow pad, Joe.
Because Bryce Young now has 3 touchdowns on opening drives in his NFL career. 2 of them are against the Atlanta Falcons.
What if we made the whole plane out of playing the Falcons? Maybe that's the case, right? Now, look, it sounds oversimplistic, but really, as much as Dave Canales has talked about complementary football, there's also complementary football in the sense of how are you going to game plan? How are you going to script these things? How are you going to come out of the gate? And they have been uninspiring in the first 2 games of the season. And they came out and they looked like a competent football team. And I think it actually ties into a conversation we were having towards the end of last year. And what were the steps for the Panthers in general, right? You're going from completely unwatchable, worst team in the NFL to just being another bad team. There is a distinction. Because you see this in the NFL all the time. I mean, heck, the NFL is a wild, wild league right now. The witching hour yesterday was off the charts. This is from The Athletic. 7 games yesterday decided by a game-winning score in the final 3 minutes of regulation or OT. That's tied for the most in a single week since the merger, right? You had the crazy ending with the Jets and the Buccaneers. You had the crazy ending with the Eagles and the Rams, right? Like the list goes on. It was a wild witching hour in the NFL yesterday, right? And with the Panthers, they were so bad from Frank Reich to Dave Canales from Matt Rule to Frank Reich to Dave Canales 1.0, right? That all you were asking for is, could you just be like everybody else? Can you just be normal in that on any given Sunday, if you handle your stuff and let the other team implode, you're going to have a good chance to win. And that's exactly what they did on Sunday. They were fine. I thought they had to be, because sometimes when you're fine, you can let the other team be the dopes. And that's what the Falcons were on Sunday. That's it. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the NFL sometimes. There's so much parity. Can you put yourself into that situation where the QB development blows up in their face rather than yours?
The Rams plus 3.5 yesterday is one of the worst beats in gambling history. I don't care what anyone says.
I thought about you on that.
And then the other one I had was the 49ers minus 1.5. You know, sometimes you take a game, you're like, oh yeah, the 1.5, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the money line, kids. Take the money line.
Well, since you brought it up. Big thanks to our friends at DraftKings. Download the app. Use the promo code OG25. What are you laughing at?
You don't even know where this is going.
Okay. You have my attention.
Yeah. Because, yes, the NFL, woo, it ain't for soft people.
No, it's not.
But one of my favorite things in the world to gamble on is back.
Okay.
The NHL preseason.
Oh, that's right, because the Canes are in action tonight. We're going to talk to Luke DeCock of the News and Observer here in a little bit about the start of the season for the Canes.
There's essentially an unwritten rule that in the NHL preseason, the home team will dress a few more players, will try a little bit more than the other team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just saying, you could parlay some winners, home teams, put them together. After trying to bang your head up against the wall against the NFL, not some bad advice right there.
Okay. We told you to go on the over with Duke and NC State. That was a smart play by us. I last week decided, you know what? I'm going to put $5 gang on a few parlays because I love the parlays at DraftKings. I did decide to throw $5 at the Dolphins, and for one half, it looked glorious. Just for one half, it looked like it was going to work out. But look, that's how I like to enjoy DraftKings. Just having some fun with it, man. Like tonight, you've got some quick single game parlays that put together the Lions and the Ravens. You can do all sorts of stuff like that. It's always a good time. You can also look ahead. You're feeling good about the Panthers, right? What might they do next? They got the Patriots. Folks, the Patriots look terrible. Drake May does not look like the answer at this point in time. They're at the Patriots, and the Panthers are only a 4.5-point dog in this game. That's how bad the Patriots are. So you can have a little fun with that as well. It's all DraftKings. Use that promo code OG25, and you can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime TD props to the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And if you're a new customer, here's what you do. You bet just $5. You'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG25. Again, that's OG25 to get $200 off to get $200 in bonus bets instantly, and then get $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket when you place your first $5 bet. So OG25. $5 bet, $200 in bonus bets instantly, and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer. One other note I wanted to add about the Panthers, which was fun. I got back in time to watch the majority of the second quarter and the rest of the game yesterday after some youth hockey. And as I'm watching this game, I was wrong about the crowd. I thought, given the building blocks of fan depression that had kicked in and how they started the season, their home opener against the Falcons was going to be a meh crowd. And maybe it's the way the game started. Maybe it's your enjoyment of sticking it to the Falcons. I mean, Panthers social media also got involved with this too, with some fun graphics and whatnot. I thought it was, at least from television, it looked like it was a very good, engaged crowd. I'm sure somewhere Steve Smith was smiling, going, oh, look at this weak-ass fair weather city showing up for a game like this. If anything, I think it kind of proves Steve Smith's point wrong in that Panthers fans, given everything that's happened in the last 10 years, still show up. So give them a little bit of credit for still engaging. I made this point to Kyle Bailey on WFNZ last week. You can't sit here and call Charlotte a fair weather city or a weak-ass city when the entire sports talk economy in Charlotte is still based on the Panthers. Because if you didn't care about the Panthers, they wouldn't be talking about it every day. They have the data. They know, based on ratings, texts, etc., whether or not the Panthers still hunt as a topic. It clearly does. And that's because there's interest in that city for them to be good. They just haven't been rewarded. And at least for one Sunday, man, for one Sunday, they were rewarded with a good time. What does this mean going forward? I don't know, because it gets back to what I said about the Carolina Panthers to start. All they've elevated to is, you're just another NFL team right now. That's all you are. And that means when you go up against other NFL teams, well, you have Sundays like Sunday, where you let the other team embarrass themselves. I know that's a low bar, but that's kind of where we're at with the Panthers. It's a low bar. Where do they build on this? Well, hopefully they get healthier. There are some things that you can be, tell me something good. Ted McMillan looks like the real freaking deal. He made one catch early that everybody's salivating over. But all I ask is enjoy the win, enjoy it, have fun with it, but also dial it back once the week gets going, and that this is not some sort of like, well, we're going to start stacking. We'll see. Because all they have done is elevated themselves into a group of other bad teams that on any given Sunday could potentially win. Let's go back to the sports phone. This is from a 910.
Man, the Falcons must really be ass.
Yes.
You gotta find that, man. Too many
I'll go back and find it.
Calling for it.
I'll go back and find it for the tell me something good. All right, this is from a 919.
Hello, OG. Courtesy driver, 5:04 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Watching the late games on the red zone for the NFL. I can't figure out what I just watched earlier with the Panthers and the Falcons. No, I don't think it was a game from another universe that somehow we picked up and were able to watch. This was the Carolina Panthers actually playing competent football. The only thing I can think of, either through voodoo, sorcery, or whatnot, just like what happened with Duke, magically passing their turnovers and mistakes curse on to State yesterday, same sorcery that the Panthers pulled this off and passed their ineptitude on to the Falcons. Makes me curious about the Panthers game next week up in New England. New England's now 0-2 at home. They're one win, sorry Ovies, down at Miami last week. So this is just a curious thing that's happened. Makes no sense. But I believe y'all have used that term before, maybe in your old radio days or whoever, but football is dumb. Thank you and have a good weekend.
Usually what I say is hockey is dumb. Of all the sports, hockey is the dumbest sport. You could absolutely dominate another team, and then the puck bounces a funny way, and it's lights out for you. Let's go to a 252.
30-0. Yes. Let's keep pounding through this season. I just also wanted to point out, you guys brought up the Cardinals game last week and said discount the second half. I think we could revisit that and say, let's not discount that because this team took that performance and brought it into this game. And boy, did it feel good. Let's just keep playing like that for the rest of the season, boys. I fucking love it.
I'm going to push back on that. I'm going to still stick to my guns when it comes to what we saw in the Arizona game in the second half, where I thought Arizona stopped playing. And when it came down to, all right, stakes are back, we can win this game, the Panthers went back into their hidey hole and just failed to execute. Now it gets back to what I said originally, in that you need to be ready when the other team decides to stink that day, because that's what happens in the NFL. You have to be ready for when the other team stinks. And I think that's where I'll give the Panthers a hell of a lot of credit. They were ready to not be the team that stunk that day. Sometimes it's that's where football's dumb. I'll give you that. That's where football's done. All right, one more Panthers call.
Hey, OG, it's the NC State moderator here. I had a quick thought after watching the Panthers-Falcons game. It occurred to me that the Panthers-Falcons rivalry, it feels very similar to the NC State-Carolina football rivalry, where, like, I think the Falcons, it's a red and blue team playing each other. You got one team who's probably, like, got a 60% win rate over the other, where Carolina's got the edge over State, and the Falcons have the edge over the Panthers. And they're in a weak division in the NFC South, weak conference in the ACC. The rest of the league looks down on them because they just look like two football teams throwing rocks at each other. It's just a fucking rock fight. And not just, like, from a player standpoint, but also from, like, all the failed coaching hires, blunders, like, the 2015, like, Cam Newton and jump on the fumble. Then the Falcons are like, hold my beer, watch us blow this 28-3 lead. I mean, every time one of the teams is having doing something cool, the other one ruins it. Like the Panthers' undefeated season, the Falcons beat them. I don't know. It just feels like the State-Carolina rivalry. Also, random thought related to the State game. Do y'all think that there's some kind of contingency plan in the effect that there's a rain delay that keeps your game off of the channel it's supposed to be on? Because we couldn't watch the State game. I don't think it's going to make a big difference by any stretch of the imagination, but just wondering if you think there's any contingency plan for the Success Initiative. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
That's a good question, because the Clemson-Syracuse game was delayed.
That's right.
Because of weather, and the game got pushed to like ESPN Plus and all that kind of stuff. I would say that if that ends up, this is just my proposal. This is what I would say. If Jim Phillips were sitting right here, and Bubba Cunningham was sitting right here too, because I know he's secretly behind all these things. Shadow commissioner, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
If Jim Phillips were sitting right here, I would say, hey, like, did you ever work an hourly job growing up? You got overtime pay? It was like time and a half or whatever it was. If your team gets pushed to ESPN Plus or ESPN News because of weather delays or delays in a game, you should get time and a half for anybody who watches on those apps. Does that sound like a good compromise?
Not one I thought of, but yeah, I mean, I guess
just a thought. Like, hey,
you're getting based on.
I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
Yeah,
to go full Clerks. I feel like that's what you should do in this situation. You tell the ACC, I wasn't even supposed to be on ESPN Plus. I was an ESPN 2 game. Come on. You get time and a half for it. I think that sounds reasonable.
I like it.
Okay. Any other NFL thoughts? We're going to spend more time on the NFL tomorrow when week 3 wraps up. Kansas City looks like ass.
Ugh.
They are not a fun watch.
You realize now this is the second year in a row the New York Giants have been in an NFL game without a kicker for the second year
But apparently
in a row.
The guy that they brought in got hurt that day.
It's the second year in a row they've had to play a football game without a kicker.
Unreal.
Like,
and is this the first time they've had to play without a quarterback too? It's Jackson Dart time in New York, man. Russ still thinks he could just chuck him up there, man. And it worked. It worked
good against Dallas.
Well, until we got to overtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, my immediate thoughts, and we'll spend more time on this because after 3 weeks, you can kind of determine who are the legit 3-0 teams and who might be kind of enjoying your favorite topic, a little bit of the schedule. My immediate takeaways are Kansas City is no longer fun to watch. I'll be curious to see how that reflects in the ratings. It can't just be all Patrick Mahomes at this point, right?
Yeah.
I also think that the Eagles are going to put the NFL in a position where they might call an emergency owners meeting in a couple of weeks to vote on the tush push. That it's like the Eagles are like Nick Sirianni is that much of an asshole that I think he's now daring owners. Fine. You want to make this a topic every week and come up with a new excuse? Mike Florio said it on Sunday Night Football in America as I was watching last night. Florio was doing an update on the tush push. And he says, as I talked to one league source, this is what the owners voted on. I was like, ooh, spicy. The league telling the owners, you had a chance. You didn't.
Right.
So don't come bitching to us.
To me now.
Now ain't the time.
Right.
You could have voted this thing out.
Yeah, this isn't NASCAR. We're not changing the rules in the middle of the season.
But if Sirianni continues on this path, buddy, would you be surprised if they have an emergency meeting?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not NASCAR.
Also, tomorrow, I want you to do your homework.
Okay.
Can you name this quarterback and what team they're on right now? Because, buddy, we are in some backup protocols in the NFL. Backup. This has to be Roger Goodell's worst nightmare. I'm like, whoa. Who's starting?
Yeah, I have the Sunday ticket, and there. If I wasn't betting on any of those 1 o'clock games, I would have been like, let's just go eat lunch.
Whew, I got errands to run, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching Marcus Mariota. Is that what I'm watching?
That was,
bad. What's Gordon doing for tonight, Monday Night Football? Do we know?
We should find him.
We should find him.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday.
Is that game in Detroit?
No, I think it's in Baltimore tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Gordon well enough, he might find a cheap flight to go to Baltimore.
There we go.
I don't know. I really don't know. With Gordon, you never know. Actually, I take that back. There is one thing you can know with Gordon. Gordon is never, and I mean never, because I've experienced this and Joe has experienced this, put you in a situation that doesn't work for you. And that includes refinancing or potentially trying to buy a house and financing it. Gordon has told me straight up, now ain't the time.
Nope. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I can't do that.
That's what he told you.
Yeah.
I can't. No,
We
Gordon,
cannot do that.
Gordon and I have a different relationship. He's like, no, you idiot. Don't do that right now. For you, it's like, Joe, I can't do that to you.
Here's the numbers, by the way, not just here's what I'm telling you. Trust me. Here are the numbers.
Yes.
Here's why it doesn't make sense.
So that's what separates Miller Lending from anybody else. So all we're asking you to do is call 919-447-3377, millerlending.com/TheOG. Have a conversation with the folks at Miller Lending. It might make sense for you, even if the rates aren't necessarily ideal. It still might make sense for you, or they'll straight up tell you no. All we're asking is you start that conversation. So call them right now, 919-447-3377. Speaking of buying a house, I know it's kind of a weird time right now. You just probably have anecdotal evidence. Maybe you've talked to a friend who's tried to sell a house and they're having a hard time doing it. There's all sorts of factors for it. Location, the economy, you name it. Why don't you talk to the experts to get a real assessment as to what's going on? That is our friends at Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer, WH.lawyer. They could do something as simple for you as handle a closing on a refinance or a home purchase or sell. That's easy enough. You could also do some small business legal needs, contracts, all sorts of stuff. Whitaker & Hamer can handle it for you. And they got locations all across the triangle. So check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. Just like I don't know legal, like I'm caveman lawyer, right?
You have your Netflix law degree.
I have my Law and Order law degree. I've watched enough Law and Order to know some things, right? Some
Dangerous.
things. So that's why you get a lawyer. Same with money. Just because you can handle your own personal finances, that might not necessarily mean you're equipped to handle your business finances. This is where Chris Brassfield Accounting in Homer, Alaska, where they've got a week's worth of sun every day. Chris is up in the daylight, making sure he's got all your finances in order as a fractional CFO. The sun never sets in Alaska. Just like Chris is not going to sunset making sure that you are taken care of with your fractional CFO business.
But one thing we need to remember, because Chris is in Homer, Alaska, and he's a state guy, was here in the triangle, and we were like, well, how did you why did you stay in Homer? Like most people visit Alaska, but they don't stay.
Well, it's gorgeous.
So he was like, here's the reason.
That is beautiful, man.
Just so you know, this is why.
And that's what it looks like 24/7, right? Because the sun never sets.
All the time.
All the time. All the time. It looks like that all the time. No, we're kidding. All jokes aside, Chris Brassfield Accounting. Check them out online, brassfieldaccounting.com, and they'll take care of your financial needs for your business. And
especially if you have a grant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say fractional CFO. This is somebody that you are hiring on a part-time basis to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do to stay copacetic, if you will. So brassfieldaccounting.com is the website. Go check them out today. All right, let's go to the Carolina Hurricanes before we bring on Luke DeCock of the News and Observer. I feel like it requires some setup. We got the preseason underway. We got our first preseason game tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes. I know the community game is on Wednesday. That should be a lot of fun. I think the tickets are just $10 for general admission. And hopefully we'll catch up with Rod Brind'Amour a little bit later on this week, just kind of talk about the offseason and see what they're expecting to start the year and some of the changes like Logan Stankoven at center and those types of things. But it's not officially the start to the Carolina Hurricane season without a very inspirational Rod Brind'Amour speaking to the new guys. Maybe some guys who are returning, trying to get going in the NHL. And he talked about the three things that separates the Canes and what will separate them from everybody else.
We got 3 races to run in this journey. And I haven't talked about this really much, a little bit. We got a 2-week race right now. 2-week race. It's a training camp race. And it's trying to figure out the bus. Trying to figure out whose seat, where the seats fit on the bus, and how we get this thing streamlined so that it hums when we get down the road. That's what the training camp's about. Figuring that out. And then we're going to hit, and this is what we talked about before, we're going to hit that marathon race. And by the way, it's the same distance for every team. Every team's going to be lined up in 2 weeks going, hey, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. And we got to get down there, and it's the same distance. If I tell you today after this meeting that I'm going to Wrightsville Beach, I'm taking I-40. It's the most direct way. I know it. Done it 1,000 times. I don't even need a GPS. Right? That's what you guys have done. We know the way. We know how to get.
I got to stop right there. The fact that he's like, I just got to go on 40 and go that way, and I end up there. That is the most Raleigh thing I've ever heard, man. If you ever want proof that Rod truly is a North Carolinian now, he's a Raleigh man. So yeah, just go to Wrightsville Beach. It's the most direct access.
Where his father-in-law lives.
Now, Parky's a bit of a pain in the ass. I'd rather go to Carolina Beach, but that's another conversation for another day.
Get to here to there. Doesn't just happen. We got to take each step along the way. So when we line up for that race after this training camp, 2-week session, that's the middle race. It's a marathon. But you got to take each step. But we got to live for today. We make every day that we're together and apart and on the bus count.
There you go. There's Rod Brind'Amour. Getting everybody fired up for another start to the season, Joe.
I just figured out why he was not a great talker as a player.
Why?
He was always standing still.
Yes.
As a coach, though, he's a great talker because he's pacing, he's moving around. Think about it. He's not really that great in the post game either because he has to stand there.
He has to stand there.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting that if we talk to Rod this season, we should do a walk and talk?
Yep.
So rather than bringing out the equipment, bringing the roadcaster out, setting up the mics and the cameras, all that stuff, we just
he's very good with us, though.
Well, I think the last time we made him comfortable because we had all the weights
That's
around
right.
him.
We brought the weight bench.
You make a Kaiser Chops reference and he's like, he's in.
I'm in.
He's in. Now, if we want to get creative, maybe we try to run steps with Rod while we talk to him.
No.
You don't think we can keep up?
You need me to die?
Well, yeah, your back would give out. Your neck would give out trying to do that. Although I think I'm turning into you with my body falling apart. Because
welcome to your 40s.
Yeah, dude. I was at the factory most of the day yesterday from about 6:45 in the morning until about 1:30. And I was doing a lot of standing because they had 2 games yesterday out in Wake Forest. And my left knee was just like, F you, man. Why have you been standing? Why have you been standing and walking around this entire time? And I'm kind of like Rod at a youth hockey game. I can't sit still. I actually had one mom say, do you have the zoomies? I go, yeah, actually I do. I do have the zoomies. I do have the zoomies. Yeah. And yes, watching Rod walk around while he's getting everybody hyped up, it's very much he has the zoomies. He's very excited for the start of the season. But yeah, man, when it comes to Rod, these speeches and what he's been able to do with the Carolina Hurricanes is truly to be appreciated. I don't know about you, but I'm hyped up after hearing Rod Brind'Amour's speech to the campers. Like, I don't think my sons got the same kind of speech when they went to marbles camp. But I'd love to see Rod Brind'Amour at a marbles camp in the summer. You're here for 3 reasons, okay? We're going to build, we're going to learn, and we're going to make friends. Luke DeCock joining us now on the Easter Automotive Group hotline, columnist for the News and Observer. Luke, what's up, man?
So Rod Brind'Amour giving the opening speech at Space Camp. We're going to build some rockets.
Look, man. I'm over at Invisalign. Jacob's now in the midst of his junior Canes travel hockey season. And it just so happens that Rod's kids team is in the workout room before Jacob's. Dude, what do you think that looks like? Rod is bringing the same energy to those kids as he is to which are kids. As we open up training camp. They're still all kids if you think about it.
That's how Rod Brind'Amour got where he is, doing one more set than the other guy.
I mean, he's got a big banner that says that in the workout room at Invisalign. So it's all very, very true.
Muscles on his feet that doctors haven't identified yet.
So we've got this culture, right? This culture is something that I think when it's all said and done, I think we appreciate it now. I think that's a fair statement. I think we all appreciate what Rod has brought to the table. But we've had many years of this now, and there's always the looking ahead. And I always feel like we'll get a true appreciation for what Rod Brind'Amour has been able to do as a head coach for the Carolina Hurricanes when he's no longer here. And Dundon has to actually go find a coach that doesn't want to be here all the time. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. No, I mean, the true test of any regime is the succession, right? It's how we get from, and obviously we're not running Rod Brind'Amour out the door, but he's not going to do this.
This all has a shelf life, and he's not going to be the coach forever.
Right. Let's work from that very valid assumption. At some point, they're going to have to turn the coaching staff over to someone who isn't Rod Brind'Amour, someone who didn't win a Stanley Cup here, someone who wasn't a captain here, someone who isn't as deeply invested in this area, which is crazy to think that, 26 years ago, Rod Brind'Amour couldn't wait to get out. And now you can't get him out even if you wanted to.
And now he's got that guy's kid on the roster who brought him here.
Yeah.
Primo's kid is here. Skylar Brind'Amour's on the team too. So
the first day of camp, someone asked Rod something about must be crazy, the son of the guy you were traded for and your son's here and all that. And he goes, well, look, guys, some of us have been around here for a while. And he looks right at me and he goes, a lot of time has passed. I'm like, how do I catch this stray? But it's true. Rod and I have kind of done this the whole time he's been here. Not the first half year he got here, but certainly the time after that. So yes, a lot of water under that bridge. But yeah, you have to figure out a way. And part of this is you say, well, doesn't that happen all the time in the NHL or pro sports? And no, it doesn't. There is not an NHL team. There may not be a pro sports team now that Belichick is no longer coaching the Patriots. I'm not entirely sure where he is now, but there may not be a pro sports team whose identity is so singularly determined by who its coach is and how he manages things. The Hurricanes are not an NHL team really as much as they are a Rod Brind'Amour team, and his identity, his emotions, his beliefs fuel everything they do. And that, when we talk about culture, it stems from that. This is important, guys to translate for him. His first year, he had Justin Williams. Those two guys share a brain, right? They believe in the same stuff. So you have the coach, and then you have the captain who can translate. And Jordan Staal moved really seamlessly into that role. Now you've got two things happening. You've got the eventual end of Rod Brind'Amour's tenure as coach, which, who knows how long that is, but it will end. And you have the eventual end of Jordan Staal's tenure as captain.
Yes.
Those are going to be two absolutely pivotal transitions for the Hurricanes, because you have to find a captain who can translate Brind'Amour's message to his teammates in a way that resonates. And B, the question then you have to ask is the culture strong enough to endure without the guy who's almost a cult of personality at the heart of it? That's it's sort of a negative connotation to that. But the reality is so much of this is based on who Rod Brind'Amour is and how he relates with the players and how he wants them to play. And who he was as a player.
So this was all really a big, long wind up to establish the Rod Brind'Amour culture and what we've seen established here in nearly a decade of coaching, and adding something that is going to test it, or at least based on reports with Michael McLeod. I think it was Dave Pagnotta who was the first to report this last week. And there's this sentiment that it exists right now with a lot of Carolina Hurricanes fans, or at least the ones who are online, and we see a lot, who are allergic to this. And I understand why, given the context of McLeod, Team Canada, the trial that lasted, or the scandal that lasted for the better part of 3 to 5 years. I mean, we don't need to get into the weeds in this. The point is they were found not guilty. A group of guys were found not guilty in July. The NHL has a reinstatement system in place where I believe they can enter into contract negotiations on October 1st. They can sign October 15th, and then they can start playing again starting December 1st. And indications are that McLeod is going to be joining this team. So there's two questions that come from this particular news. One, how does this absorb into the culture that we've established? Number one. Number two, but this is more of a basic one. Why do they need him?
I mean, I think that's a great question. I just want to say, first of all, everything that I've heard is that the Hurricanes' interest in this guy is legitimate. This is something, I've mentioned it in print now. This is something I think we have to prepare ourselves for happening unless something changes in the interim couple of weeks here. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you would potentially set giant bundles of goodwill on fire to sign a guy who's essentially a fourth line center and face-off specialist. It's not what I would do. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze here. But, the Hurricanes think that they can get a player who can help them cheaply without giving anything up. They love to do that. And I think they feel like this will make them stronger down the middle. And if you take his history out of it, what have we been talking about all summer is they have to get stronger down the middle. Yeah. So I think, there's a part of them who's like, hey, look, we're pushing the envelope here to get better down the middle. And now you people want to complain about it. That said, it is a totally valid complaint, because a pro sports team, it's a valid complaint. A pro sports team is not a business. It is a public trust. Yeah. And you can only push the people so far before they break. Like right now, with all the development, there is going to be a point where the Hurricanes are going to come to the state and the city and the arena authority and say, we need X, Y, Z. You need people to feel good about you to do that, because you are a private company. It's just, and we went through this with Tony DeAngelo. We are going to do whatever we think is necessary to win games, and you are going to like us because we win games. Yeah. And the same small cadre of people are going to complain and want to have meetings with their ticket sales rep, and we'll deal with it, and it'll all blow over and he'll be fine. And I was going to say they got away with it with Tony DeAngelo. It worked out fine with Tony DeAngelo. He kept his nose clean.
I think DeAngelo is a completely different situation.
I'm with you on that. We're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
That's basically the thing I was going to say. But they signed an unpopular player. He kept his nose clean. Things were fine. Right. Tony DeAngelo, the issue with him is his personality, right? nobody ever accused Tony D'Angelo of what Michael McLeod and these guys have been accused of. And let's face it, the NHL thought the accusations alone were serious enough to suspend these guys for almost 2 years, and still won't let them be immediately reinstated upon their acquittal. So, yeah, I mean, I just, you talk about building a culture and doing the right things and all the things that Rod Brind'Amour talks about. To me, this is not congruent with that. This is really sort of pushing the boundaries of what you can get away with your fan base. And I just, again, I don't understand what the marginal value here is. Does it make you a better hockey team? Possibly. Does it do uncalculable extrinsic damage to your relationship with portions of your fan base, your reputation, things like that? Absolutely. But, you know, the decision makers in charge have clearly done the calculus on that and decided they'd rather have this guy and deal with the slings and arrows than pass. And that's their decision. And I think what you get back to in the end, if you are going to be a Carolina Hurricanes fan, you're going to be a fan of this team, you're going to have to acknowledge that they are going to do what they think they need to do to win. And that does not, your opinion does not factor in. You're okay with that? Great. If you're not, hit the bricks, because that's the way it's going to be. And once you sort of accept that reality, then you can sort of figure out what your accommodation is with it. Now, your original question about culture, I mean, this is making quote unquote culture a load bearing member of this entire franchise. You bring a guy like that into your room, you better be sure. Now, they have an assistant GM who worked with him in New Jersey, so there is a personal foundation there, but you better be sure you're not going to mess up something you've spent 7-8 years really very painstakingly building by bringing in a guy who could disrupt that. Because look, this season, if they sign him, every single place they go, the media is going to swarm his locker at the morning skate. You can't hide him all year. Toronto, Edmonton, Ottawa, Montreal, those cities are going to be a circus. And even in places like New York and Boston and maybe even Florida, people are going to want to talk to the guy and be like, how's it feel to play hockey after being accused of a gang rape? Yeah. Like, that's a legitimate question to ask this guy. That's putting a lot of strain on everything that isn't hockey with the organization.
It feels like it's as simple as they have 7 other former first round picks on their roster, Luke. In terms of like their interest, I feel like they have a formula.
They do,
right?
They have a
stars and talent.
Production in New Jersey. I know what it was, but it does feel like, hey, he's a bigger body. Hey, like you said, he's a face-off specialist. Hey, and I guarantee you it'll come out at some point. Well, you know, we talked to Taylor Hall about him, assuming he played with them in New Jersey. You know, like just as we got with D'Angelo. Oh no, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a pattern.
I mean, not saying I like it. I'm just saying I'm telling you how it's going to be explained.
Yeah.
So, your first question for Rod the other day was about Logan Stankoven. Great transition moments here with us in Casey Kasem. Logan Stankoven,
dog.
I'm trying to find kindest word possible. I'm trying to find Munchkin centers out there, Luke. Help me. I thought our guy Marty St. Louis was a center. You know, I love a comp. Well, give me a Munchkin center out there that gives the Canes hope that this is going to work for them.
What is it about the state and small guys in important positions, man? Between Brad and this, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, I don't have a comparison for you off the top of my head. I honestly haven't done that research yet. There aren't a lot of small centers because it is a position where wingspan matters and being a big body matters, especially winning faceoffs. But when you're out of options, you start looking to see where you are. And they think Logan Stankoven, who played center through his career, like most good young players, played center through most of his career before moving to the wing in the pros, is worth a look. Now, the funny thing is, you know, you get Rod saying, you know, don't read too much into this. It won't look this way in October. And every year it does. So I think we'll see Logan Stankoven at least start the year. He's got 2 big bodies on his wings.
Yeah.
And they'll figure it out. I do think he has the skill level and the hockey sense to play that position, but the size is going to be the issue. And the proof will be in the pudding on that. Can he go out there and be effective as a 2-way player at 5'7", whatever we're calling him, 5'8"? It's tough. It's really difficult. That's not a position. You know, on the wing, there are a lot, like you mentioned, Marty St. Louis, a lot of small players have been successful on the wing where you can sort of cut inside and there's space. Center, you kind of got to be where the action is, and that's tougher as a small guy. But I like the idea. I like the sense that they're trying it, like rather than sort of going back to the Jesperi Kotkaniemi well and saying, well, maybe this is the year that he becomes the player who is the 3rd overall pick. Like let's give someone else a shot and see where it goes.
I actually like that it's not Jarvis. I feel like let's not.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that.
You know what I mean? Like I thought in the summer when I was hearing that, I'm like,
Are you sure about that?
Can we?
Maybe not.
Let's not. Let's not mess with the one thing that we know is like for sure.
Yeah, no, Jarvis to me is you got a little Mark Rucky out there. You want to kind of keep that.
All right, before we let you go, I'm going to hit you with a question we got from the OG Sports Phone related to Bill Belichick, North Carolina, and Bubba Cunningham. Is Bubba Cunningham secretly enjoying this? A classic, this is what you all wanted, and now you're getting it.
Yeah, no, I haven't spoken about this particular point specifically to Bubba. And look, he's still responsible for North Carolina as an athletic department. And this has not been good for North Carolina as an athletic department. So there's only so much schadenfreude he can take from this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he's taking more than a little because, yeah, this move is sort of, pushed upon him. There's political shenanigans going on. There's boosters throwing money around. It's turned into an absolute debacle in every sense. They've got a Conference USA roster. They've got a coach embarrassing himself, tarnishing his own legacy. UNC's become a laughing stock, a code word for football hubris. And there's just nothing about this that's good. They haven't gotten anything out of this they wanted. And Bubba had to put a pretty good face on it when you go back to, December and kind of saying, we really want to get this done and football is important. We have to generate revenue in football and you have to spend money, make money, and do all that. But you know that no sitting AD with a reputation he wants to preserve or she wants to preserve is going to hire Bill Belichick to coach their football team. And especially because deep down, you knew all along this is what was going to happen. Like the three of us were talking in December about, what this could look like. And what it was potentially going to look like is this.
Yeah. So,
this has become so embarrassing for the University of North Carolina, not athletics, for the university. It's getting to the point where as the, quote unquote, flagship university for the state, TOB, it's embarrassing the state. Like how far are you willing to go? How much will you debase yourself as an institution of higher learning in pursuit of something this stupid? And look, the people running UNC at this point will debase themselves to any degree possible, pursuing so they can talk about pretending they have an SEC football team with their pals in the grill room. Yeah. And it's just embarrassing. At this point, it's embarrassing the taxpayers. It's a disaster. And so, I'm sure there's a part of Bubba Cunningham. Well, one, there's a part of him that's mortified because people who don't fully understand what happened are going to pin this on him.
Of course.
So you're still mortified. Like you're still stuck in this. But I guarantee you there's a part of him thinking, this is what happens when you didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
And as a sports columnist, you have that feeling all the time.
Cool. Or Joe, who's telling you he's
right.
Or
Joe, yes. Joe's never been wrong.
I've never, ever been wrong. Speaking of Joe, do you have the schedule in front of you, Joe?
I do.
Okay, let's pull out the schedule. We'll close on this. Let's have a fun little parlor game. I'm looking at the rest of North Carolina's schedule. The schedule that was so easy.
So easy. Such a soft
for Bill Belichick, who just had to, put his shoes on like everybody else and have a competent football team out there. Yeah. Could easily go 8-4.
It's kind of funny, they acted like they were splitting the atom coming into revolutionize college football. If you'd actually had these guys splitting the atom, we'd all be dead.
Hey, man, 33rd NFL team. Hey, man, that's all you need to know.
Hey, the Browns won, so I think they're not even the 33rd NFL
maybe team. Not. So I'm looking at, after the bye week, this is what we have remaining. I want you two to tell me which ones will end up being wins.
All right.
Clemson.
Bad, but not bad enough. Sorry.
At Cal. Virginia. At Syracuse, Stanford, at Wake, Duke, at State.
I think they could potentially beat Stanford and Wake. Maybe Cal.
No, because the football gods want the Calgorithm to go off on a Cal.
Well, and there's also the fact, and I don't know whether this is still true, but Joe knows this as well as I do. A triangle coach's first game in Winston-Salem is invariably an unbelievable disaster. It's like the baptism. Now, that was true under Grobe and it was true under Clausen. I don't know whether it's still true under Jake Diggert, but Doeren got his butt handed to him there. Fedora, bad things have happened in Winston-Salem to triangle football teams on that coach's first visit.
I am looking at, it really doesn't matter what happens the first 6 weeks here, or as we get into the final stretch. It's the last two that I am it's going to be Christmas in the triangle as Duke and NC State, regardless of what you think of their years. I don't know what's ahead for Dave Doeren. I don't know what's ahead for Manny Diaz. Well, what I do know is that those 2 weeks, if those two schools put it on Bill Belichick, forget it.
Forget it. It's over.
The OG sports phone will not, I'll have to mute it.
I mean, it will be the greatest sports traffic bonanza in the history of Triangle media. Like, it will be insane. And honestly, I don't know about Duke, because I watched the Illinois game. Duke can certainly be the architect of its own demise, as Manny very accurately said. But I believe nothing in life as much as I believe that Dave Doeren is going to beat Bill Belichick. I believe that is an absolute, like the firmness of the earth. Like, get the best odds you can get now. That is going. Dave Doeren, regardless of what you think of him as a coach, regardless of what kind of season State has, Dave Doeren will beat Bill Belichick. I believe that to the bottom of my existence.
Luke DeCott, columnist, News and Observer. All right, man, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I got an idea for you. You might be headed to a preseason hockey game. You're running out of time because you're just running all over the place, but you still want to check out the Canes. You need something to pick you up. Go to Happy and Hail. You need to have a bowl. That make for a good, quick tailgate session before you jump into Lenovo Center. So take a break with Happy and Hail.
Take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hail.
I'm a big fan of the green smooth. Almond Brothers is also very, very good. I usually go with the Bueno Bowl. That's my go-to. They can actually mix it up too. You can do a little bit of a salad base. You can do a little bit of a quinoa if you want to as well. All sorts of great stuff at Happy and Hail. So check them out. Download the app. Use our promo code OG25 to save 25% off one order, your first order. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. We tried to warn you. I get it. It is the first day of fall. That's wonderful. And this morning felt wonderful. That if you looked at the weather the rest of the week, is getting into the upper 80s. It's still warm. We're supposed to get rain later in the week as well. This is still active mosquito time. So check out bugsbite.com. Make sure you get Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority to take care of you. And start thinking about next year as well. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority can do all sorts of additional services. They even have like misting systems for your backyard. Hanging out on the patio on the deck, misting systems will keep those mosquitoes and other insects away. So just something to think about for 2026. Check them out, bugsbite.com. And of course, the Butcher's Market, they bring you the OG Live. They bring you our mailbag. And of course, they bring you delicious meats. Frozen sometimes, fresh out the case, meals prepared. They got everything for you. So check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. Again, that's thebutchersmarkets.com. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. And of course, we'll go back to the OG Sports Phone.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 336.
This is Joe from deep within the ITB. I want to apologize to Wolfpack Nation. I think I'm a little bit responsible for the loss against Duke. You know, we were in control of the game and had just scored a touchdown, and we're up 20 to 7. And you know, I start thinking to myself, I wonder what this state champs T-shirt is going to look like. You know, and you know, are we going to have all the logos of, you know, all the NC schools we beat on the front, or would it just be kind of on the back, or, you know, would we use their colors? Would that kind of mess it up, you know? And I'm going through this whole mental progression of, you know, if even I would buy something so stupid. And then we, you know, missed the extra point badly. And I thought to myself, probably too early to think about the state champs T-shirt. So sorry, everybody.
Do you believe in those types of things?
Of course. Butterfly effect, of course.
So one of our colleagues, I mentioned this on the After Dark, and Nick texted me. Overheard leaving the state game. This is fucking Ovies' fault for saying we were starting 6-0. Fuck him.
You did say that?
Remember, we were at Longleaf a couple of weeks ago. We started looking ahead at the schedule, right? And the way Duke had been playing, I'm thinking, well, State with CJ Bailey, he's only getting better. Look, I get it. He took a step back on Saturday, but all the confidence in the world that CJ Bailey can turn these things around, right? He has to, especially if he's going to go to Miami. So I had said that, hey, man, are we looking at 6-0 by the time they go to Notre Dame? And you were like, whoa, hold up, all that kind of stuff, right? So I guess that stuck with the listener, and they're like, fuck Ovies, man. Okay, that's fine.
Whoa.
And you know what?
Feels aggressive.
That's fine. Look, I said that to myself on Sunday, okay? I actually had to apologize to one of Jacob's teammates, the goalie. Poor Eric. So Jacob's team is up 3-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized as a team manager, I get to do some dumb things, some fun things, right? So I had purchased what I called the goalie chain, okay? So if the goalies get a shutout, the chain's got a bunch of donuts on it. Get it? Big zeros, big O's, donuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ha. I just hype the kids up, man. We're dealing with 13 and 14-year-olds, right? So I'm looking at this going, oh man, Eric might get a shutout. And I realized, well, damn it. The goalie chain's in the car.
Oh, no.
Not in my bag.
Can't do that.
So you know what I did?
You went to go get it.
I went to go get the goalie chain.
Gave up a goal.
I ran back. No. No. It's a lot worse than that.
Oh, no.
I get back into the rink. I open up the door. I walk to the corner to go back to my little area where I have my bag and I got the camera roll and all that kind of stuff. As I'm walking in, I literally see the shutout end right in front of me with the chain in hand. And I felt terrible. I felt awful. So I apologized to Eric, and then I put the chain in the trash. I said, never again. True story. I said, never again is this going to happen.
Not in the trash.
So I put it in the trash. The goalie chain is gone. I threw it out. I threw it out.
It seems excessive.
This is where cat's in the cradle, Joey.
Okay.
This is cat's in the cradle. This is where my dad is in me. The superstition is like, because my dad would always do the thing like, well, Dilly.
The Dolphins have not.
Dilly, you walked into the room and the Dolphins were up 2 scores. And now that you're watching the game with me, well, now they're losing. So clearly it's your fault. Right? Yes, I do have the generational trauma of, there was never a Triple Crown winner after you were born, as it was my fault. These horses couldn't get it done. Okay. And of course, we finally got one. I remember texting my dad. So am I dead? Because we got a Triple Crown winner. Am I dead? I don't know it. You see ghosts? What's happening here, right? But because of years of being convinced that things that have nothing to do with the game are your fault, it dawned on me in that very moment. Shit. It's my fault. This kid lost a shutout in like the final 90 seconds. It's my fault. And I felt terrible. And I chucked the goalie chain, Joe. So you believe in that stuff?
I do, of course.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got a little rant there. 252.
Hey guys, this is Dylan. I've called before. Just wanted to check in. State fan here. So I went to the ECU and BYU game. Giglio, man, I was looking for you. Didn't find you, man. I was hoping I'd find you, could talk to you. A little disappointed in the Pirates. I got some family that went to ECU. I had higher hopes for the Pirates. Really thought they kind of beat themselves tonight. Quarterback throwing that interception right before half, that was killer. But anyway, in regards to State, I don't know, man. State be stating. It's one of those things where Manny Diaz somehow has State's number. I don't think that that offside / we had receivers moving / don't know how in the hell some penalty didn't get called on that play before half. I really think that was the turning point in the game. The State defense, really just wasn't going to be good enough regardless. It is what it is. I think the state team is kind of who they are, who they are.
They are kind of who they are at this point. Although Manny Diaz.
The curse of Chuck Amato.
Is that what this is?
Yeah. State fired Chuck, his protege. 4-0. 2 with Miami, 2 with Duke.
Does Manny take over NC State? That's the question then. Bring it all home.
You're absolutely right about Kate Hauser, by the way. It's 3-3. ECU's driving. They throw a pick in the end zone when he should have just run.
Yeah.
They get out of it. They get a stop. BYU punts. Then inexplicably, they attempt to pass from their own goal line, which BYU returns for a touchdown. And I was like, what is happening? It was like this bizarre sequence in the second quarter of that football game where ECU legitimately had a chance to win. Then the second half was just a pasting by BYU.
All right, last one.
Well, I feel like today I just have one thing to say. As a Syracuse alum who grew up in and now lives again in the Triangle. And it's Dabo, 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 you suck. All right, thanks, guys. Go Orange.
Low key, I enjoy all the Syracuse fans that live in the area. There's a lot of you out there. And we appreciate you listening to the podcast and calling the OG Sports.
Syracuse equals Maryland. Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Maryland in what sense?
Fans.
No,
Yeah,
they're not as bad as Maryland
they
fans,
are.
though.
They are.
Really?
They are. They just haven't been good enough for it to matter. When they're good, oh man.
I always felt like Louisville was a good replacement.
No.
Like when Louisville football's good.
No, because Louisville has little brother syndrome with Kentucky.
Yeah,
so it's
that's a
the
good
same
point.
mentality. Syracuse has a completely different mentality.
Well, they run the sports media, so I know that.
Yeah.
So imagine if they actually were good in football on a consistent basis since they run the sports media. I think like every play-by-play guy went to Syracuse.
That guy actually who called in sounded like he was from the Newhouse School. Like at first, I'm like, is this a radio guy?
He might be.
I mean, he might be. Sounded good.
That's going to wrap it up. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good time.